Houston's equal rights ordinance, dubbed HERO by its supporters, is soundly rejected. The margin, 61 to 39%. This after an 18-month battle in the nation's fourth largest city. The ordinance would have applied to businesses such as restaurants and hotels, private employers, housing, and city employment. Supporters said it would have offered increased protections for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. Opponents, including a coalition of conservative pastors, say it infringes on religious beliefs and poses a danger to women and girls. Texas Governor Greg Abbott reacts to the vote with this statement. Voters in Houston showed values still matter, and they were clear in their opposition to Proposition 1. I applaud the community leaders and pastors in Houston for organizing a strong effort to defeat this measure. Pastor David Welch, Executive Director of the Texas Pastor Council, Skyping with us from Houston. This was quite a battle, 18 months. What do you think was the turning point as voters spoke very clearly last night?
Well, ultimately, this came down to the framing of the issue, as always is the case on these measures. And thankfully, we were able to get the message out to the voters, ultimately, that bypassed a lot of the misinformation and ultimately outright propaganda by the mayor and her advocates to speak to the issue of the threat, ultimately in the ordinance, against the privacy and safety of women in restrooms, as well as ultimately religious freedom and free speech.
And the mayor and those supporters of this say they're not giving up. What do you expect to come from them next?
Well, we certainly, the LGBT agenda, national movement, enough to know this is not going away. This was a success, a very great victory for us here locally. But the next administration could put something like this back in. In fact, this current mayor has 5 sessions left as mayor. She's even referenced might try to put something back in.
Dave, what can we do as faithful Christians across the country to counter this movement?
Well, ultimately, just be vigilant. But to begin with, you have to understand that no community of any size is safe from this agenda. So we need to be organized. Pastors got to come together and ultimately be responsible for who we put in public office, city councils in particular, on these ordinances, put godly people of character and virtue in place to govern, and then we'll have good laws. We won't have to fight these defensive battles.
From the Texas Pastor Council, Pastor Dave Welch joining us by Skype from Houston. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.